He guarded the enemy's daughter. Now her mother refuses to release him. Their ships blocked stars. Their weapons melted cities from orbit. Against them, humanity stood with courage, stubborn hope, and ships that burned too easily. When the final human fleet fell silent, the galaxy expected what always followed defeat: execution, enslavement, erasure. But the Virelians did something strange. They took one human alive. His name was never spoken by his captors. To them, he was only the human. He stood in the center of a massive alien chamber, hands bound behind his back, blood dried on his uniform. His armor was cracked. His face carried bruises and burns, yet he stood straight, feet firm against the polished black floor. Around him, towering Virelian guards watched in silence. Their eyes glowed faint blue. Their armor was flawless. At the far end of the hall sat High Commander Sareth, supreme strategist of the Virelian Empire and mother to its only child. She studied the human with cold interest. "Why is he alive?" she asked. A general stepped forward. "He refused to retreat, Commander. Even after his unit was destroyed, he shielded others until no one remained." Sareth's fingers tightened slightly on the armrest of her throne. "Humans are reckless," she said. "They fight until extinction. That is why they lose." The human said nothing. His breathing was steady. His eyes did not move. Sareth leaned forward. "You are a soldier of a defeated species. You should be begging." Still silence. The commander felt irritation rise. "Does he not understand our language?" "He does," the general replied. "He has understood every word since capture." Sareth studied him again. No fear, no rage, no pleading, only discipline. "Very well," she said. "Assign him a function I will observe." The general hesitated. "A function, Commander?" "Yes, something humiliating, something small." Her eyes shifted toward a side door. "My daughter requires a new outer guard." The room went still. The general froze. "Commander, the child is perfectly safe," Sareth interrupted. "This human is bound, monitored, and expendable. If he fails, he dies. If he succeeds, we learn something." The order was given. The human was taken away. The child's chamber was unlike the rest of the fortress. Where the Empire's halls were dark and sharp, her space was filled with light. Tall windows showed distant stars. Soft colors covered the walls. Strange alien toys floated gently in low-gravity fields. The human was brought in and unshackled. A shock collar was placed around his neck. "If you move without permission," a guard said, "your heart will stop." The human nodded once. He was positioned near the entrance. "Stand, watch, do not speak unless commanded." Again a single nod. Hours passed. The child watched him from across the room. She was small for her species, with soft features and curious eyes. She tilted her head as she studied the strange being at her door. "Mother," she asked softly through a wall communicator, "why is the prisoner standing here?" Sareth's voice came calm and controlled. "He is a guard. Do not approach him." The child looked again. The human did not move. His eyes remained forward. His posture did not relax. Time stretched. Days followed. The human remained. He did not sit. He did not sleep where she could see. He ate when commanded and returned to his position without complaint. When the child tripped while running, he stepped forward instantly, but stopped inches away, hands clenched, eyes sharp. He waited for permission before helping. The child noticed. "Why didn't you catch me?" she asked one day. He looked at her for the first time. "Orders," he said simply. His voice was calm, deep, human. She blinked. "You could have let me fall." "No," he replied, "but I needed permission." She thought about that. "Next time," she said, "you have permission." He nodded. From that moment on, everything changed. On the 7th cycle, alarms screamed through the fortress. Red light flooded the halls. An internal breach. Assassins. The child froze in fear. Guards rushed toward the chamber, but they were too far. The human moved. He stepped forward, placing himself between the door and the child. His body became a wall. The door exploded inward. 3 armored figures rushed through. The human charged without hesitation. No weapon, no armor, only his body. He slammed into the first attacker, driving them into the wall. Energy blades cut into his side, burning flesh, but he did not slow. He broke the second attacker's neck with a single, brutal motion. The third raised a weapon. The human threw himself forward, taking the blast directly. He collapsed to one knee. Still, he did not fall. Guards arrived seconds later and ended the threat. When the smoke cleared, the human was still standing. Blood pooled beneath him. The child stared, shaking. "You're hurt," she whispered. He looked back at her. "You're safe," he said, then he collapsed. High Commander Sareth watched the security footage in silence, again and again. She watched the human move, shield, stand. Not once did he retreat, not once did he look back. "He was ordered only to observe," a general said carefully. Sareth did not respond. Her claws trembled slightly. "He violated orders," the general continued. "We should execute him." She stood slowly. "No," she said. The room froze. "He will live," she continued. "And when he wakes, I will speak to him myself." She turned back to the screen, watching the moment where the human placed his body between death and her child. Her voice was quiet. What kind of enemy protects what they are told to hate? The human did not wake for 2 full cycles. Machines surrounded his bed. Alien lights scanned his broken body. His wounds were deep, burned by energy weapons that should have killed him. Yet his heart still beat. High Commander Sareth stood behind a transparent wall, watching silently. He looked smaller without armor, weaker, almost fragile. And yet he had done what her strongest guards had failed to do. "He should be dead," one of the healers said. "His species is not designed to survive this level of damage." "But he is surviving," Sareth replied. "Yes," the healer admitted, "because he refuses to stop." Sareth narrowed her eyes. "Explain." "He is conscious even while unconscious," the healer said carefully. "His body keeps fighting, muscles repairing, blood stabilizing. It is aggressive survival." Sareth said nothing. For the first time since the war ended, doubt entered her mind. When the human finally opened his eyes, the first thing he saw was a ceiling that was not a cell. The second thing he felt was pain. His body screamed, every breath burned, but he did not cry out. He turned his head slightly and saw her. High Commander Sareth stood beside his bed. Their eyes met. For several seconds neither spoke. "You disobeyed orders," she said at last. "Yes," he replied. "You should be executed." "Yes." No fear, no excuse. Sareth studied his face closely. "Why?" He took a slow breath. "The child was in danger. She is not your kind. She was under my protection. You are our enemy. She was my duty." Sareth felt something twist inside her chest. "Humans are strange," she said. "You lost the war, your people suffer, and still you protect the child of the one who destroyed you." He turned his eyes away. "I didn't protect her because of you." "Then why?" "Because someone had to." The room fell silent. Sareth turned and walked away. "Return him to the child's chamber," she ordered, "with guards and monitoring." The general hesitated. "Commander," I said, "return him." The child waited near the door. When the human entered, walking slowly with help, her eyes widened. "You're alive," she said. "Yes," he answered. She ran to him without thinking. Guards raised weapons instantly. He stopped her gently with an open hand. "Careful," he said. "I'm still broken." She laughed softly. "You look strong to me." Something inside him softened. He returned to his position near the door, but this time he was allowed to sit. The days passed, and something unexpected happened. The child talked. She asked questions about Earth, about the sky, about oceans, about why humans smiled even after losing. He answered simply. "We try again," he said once, "even when you lose, especially then." She thought about that for a long time. High Commander Sareth watched from afar. She read reports. The human never spoke unless spoken to. Never moved without reason. Never complained. He taught the child human games using stones and lines on the floor. games about strategy, sacrifice, trust. The child learned quickly. She listens to him more than her tutors, an advisor warned. Sareth dismissed the concern. He is teaching her restraint, she replied. That is not weakness. But the Empire whispered, a human guarding the commander's child, a human allowed to live, a human who fought for an enemy. Politics shifted, danger grew. One night, Sareth summoned the human again. This time without restraints. You may leave, she said suddenly. The human looked at her. I am releasing you, she continued. A transport will return you to your people. Silence. The human did not move. You do not understand, Sareth asked. I understand, he said. Then go, he hesitated. The child, he said carefully, who guards her. Sareth stared at him. You are free. He lowered his eyes. With respect, Commander, she will be targeted again. Sareth's claws dug into her palm. You would stay, she asked slowly. Yes. You would remain a prisoner. I would remain a guard. That was when Sareth understood. Humans did not serve because they were forced. They served because they chose to. The second attack came without warning. This time it was not assassins. It was a coup. Elite Imperial soldiers stormed the child's sector, weapons drawn. The Empire was tearing itself apart. Guards fell. Alarms screamed. The human moved before orders could be given. He sealed the chamber doors manually, locking himself outside with the attackers. He stood alone in the corridor, outnumbered, outgunned. He activated the shock collar himself, overriding safety limits. Pain flooded his body, but his movements became faster, sharper. The corridor became a wall of bodies. He fought until he could no longer stand. And still he crawled forward. When Sareth arrived with loyal forces, she found him collapsed at the sealed door, still alive, still guarding. The coup failed. The Empire stabilized, and the galaxy changed its view of humanity forever. Sareth stood beside the human's bed again. You could have escaped, she said quietly. Yes. You could have died. Yes. Why stay? He opened his eyes. Someone trusted me, he said. I don't break that. Sareth closed her eyes. In that moment she realized the truth. Releasing him now would not end the story. It would begin a war she could not afford. The human survived again. That fact alone shook the Virelian Empire more than the failed coup. Doctors said his body should have shut down. His muscles were torn. His nerves burned. His heart had stopped twice during transport. Yet he lived, and this time the entire Imperial Council knew his name, not spoken aloud, but recorded. The Human Guard. High Commander Sareth stood at the edge of the medical chamber, watching him breathe. Machines whispered softly. Guards stood at a distance, silent and respectful. No chains, no collar, only choice. You cannot keep him, one of the council members said behind her. Humanity has demanded his return. They fear what captivity has done to him. Sareth did not turn. They should fear what losing him would do, she replied. The council stirred. You are risking war, another warned, by refusing to release a human soldier. Sareth finally faced them. No, she said calmly, I am preventing one. When the human woke, the child was there. She sat beside his bed, holding one of his fingers gently. You stayed again, she said softly. Yes, he replied. You didn't have to. Yes, she smiled sadly. Mother says you might leave now. He said nothing. Do you want to go home? She asked. He closed his eyes for a moment. Yes, he said honestly. Her grip tightened slightly. Then why do you look like that? Because, he said slowly, leaving doesn't mean forgetting. She nodded, even though she did not fully understand, but she would. She always did. High Commander Sareth summoned him on the 7th cycle, not as a prisoner, as a guest. He entered the chamber under his own strength. His uniform had been replaced with clean, simple clothing. His wounds were still healing, but his posture remained straight. Sareth dismissed the guards. They were alone. You have become a problem, she said. He nodded. So I've been told. She studied him. My people see you as weakness. My enemies see you as leverage. Humanity sees you as stolen. And you? He asked. She paused. I see you as proof, she said. Of what? That we were wrong about your species. He said nothing. Sareth stepped closer. Humans lose wars, she continued. But you do not lose purpose. You do not lose restraint. You do not lose honor. She met his eyes. That makes you dangerous, he smiled faintly. We've been told that before. She did not smile back. I will not release you, she said. Silence fell, not anger, not shock, understanding. Because of politics, he asked. Yes. Because of fear. Yes. And because of your daughter, Sareth's voice softened. Mostly because of her. She chose you, Sareth continued. Not because you are strong, but because you are safe. The human lowered his head slightly. She made me better, he said. Sareth exhaled slowly. That was when she made her decision. The galaxy watched. Human diplomats arrived in orbit. Virelian fleets shifted position. Old alliances trembled. War hovered on the edge of a single command. Then Sareth did something no one expected. She brought the human before the full Imperial Council and gave him a voice. He stood alone in the center of the chamber. Hundreds of alien eyes watched him, some with hatred, some with fear, some with respect. You are free to speak, Sareth said. The human took a breath. I am a soldier, he began. Not a politician, murmurs echoed. I was captured, I was ordered to guard, I did my duty. He looked around the chamber. I did not fight for your empire, I did not betray my people. He paused. I protected a child. Silence deepened. If you fear that, he continued, then you do not fear humans, you fear what you are not. The chamber went still. Sareth raised her hand. The human will not be released, she declared. Gasps followed. Nor will he be imprisoned, she continued. Confusion spread. He will remain by choice, she said, as a symbol. A symbol of what? A counselor demanded. Sareth answered without hesitation. A reminder that strength without restraint is nothing. Humanity received the message hours later. A single transmission, clear, direct. The human lives, he is honored, he is free to return when he chooses. Human Command reviewed the footage, watched the battles, watched the sacrifices, watched one of their own stand alone against an empire and remain human. They withdrew their fleets, not in defeat, in respect. The final moment came quietly. The human stood at the edge of a launch platform. A ship waited, his ship. The child stood beside him. You're really going, she said. Yes. Will you come back? He knelt to her level. If I'm needed, he said. She smiled and placed something in his hand, a small imperial insignia. For protection, she said. He closed his fingers around it. Sareth watched from a distance. She did not stop him. That was the point. As the human turned toward the ship, Sareth spoke. You changed my empire, she said. He looked back. No, he replied. You just listened. The ship launched. Stars stretched. And somewhere between worlds a truth spread. The Virelian military doctrine was rewritten. One line added at the very top. Never force loyalty. Humans will give it freely once. And across the galaxy, humanity gained something far more powerful than victory. They gained respect.